the world we live in is a world of discrimination. Discrimination means separating things. And it's clear in all the teachings of the teachers of the Buddha way that the state that they most value is the state where we don't discriminate. And discrimination is a label. So we can say the state where we don't think. And this state is not a state, because reality is always changing, but there's no other word to use to describe it but state. It's not static, it's dynamic, as we know in our Zazen. The state in Zazen is dynamic. We don't suddenly enter some kind of state and stay there, fixed. But that state in Zazen is what all the writings about. All the writings of the teachers of the past are about that state. And over the years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, people have described that state with lots of different words. So then we've got lots of different words all attempting to describe the essential thing that the teachers are talking about. So what I always want to say is all those labels, all those words pointing to the same thing. I don't mean that the labels in the world are all pointing to the same thing. You know, coffee is not the same as water. The word is not the same, but the thing itself is not the same. But in the case of the Buddha's teachings, these words or labels aren't talking about the same thing. However, because of our great intellectual skill, we see the words and mistake the words for the thing. And one good example is the word emptiness in English. Emptiness in English, in the Zen tradition, comes from the word ku in Japanese. In Japanese and Chinese, the character for ku is the same character as the character for sky, empty space. And the word ku, character ku, comes from the Sanskrit shunyata. And shunya is empty. It's an adjective. And shunyata is an abstract noun. So shunya, shunyata. Shunya, empty, shunyata, emptiness. And as with Sanskrit, so with lots of European languages, we create abstract nouns and then we think that abstract noun points to some abstract thing, entity. So what is emptiness? Well, there's lots of writings in the teachings which try and tell us what emptiness is. Probably the most well known in Zen is the Heart Sutra. And in the Heart Sutra it says Rupa Yaf sunyata yav rupa. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. And people gaily chanted and have their own understanding of it, without realizing that the Heart Sutra, the Japanese chant, is only the middle part of the whole sutra. There's a beginning and an end. And the beginning says, Gautama Buddha was together with a load of his students on Vulture Peak, and they just had a nice Zazen day. And after the Zazen day, they're all sitting around, and the Buddha says to Shariputra, who's his main man, if you want to describe to young people what the state in Zazen is, what would you say? And Shariputra says, all the stuff that's in the Heart Sutra. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. There aren't any eyes, ears, nose, mouths, there's no this, there's no that, nothing, sounds like nothing exists. But of course, doesn't mean nothing exists. And that's why Shariputra says, form is empty, empty is form. Then turning it round emphasizes it. So when you say something's empty, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The form is there and it's empty. So we've got two conflicting things. We've got a discriminative view of the world and a non-discriminative view of the world. And they're both the same thing. So, the sutra goes on to explain how everything is empty, and then at the end, the Buddha says to Shariputra, well done, that's great. That's a really nice description of the state in Zazen, which is beyond thinking and beyond feeling. So it's a description, the Heart Sutra is a description of the state in Zazen. So emptiness in the Heart Sutra, shunyata, or ku, shiki sokuze, ku sokuze, siki, is talking about the state in Zazen. Not Shariputra's Zazen or the Buddha's Zazen, but my Zazen, your Zazen. So when I think about what's the meaning of emptiness, it just means the state in Zazen. Okay. What's the name of the Heart Sutra? Hanya Haramita. In Sanskrit, Prajna Paramita, Maha Prajna Paramita Sutra. Oh yeah, okay. I forgot. The heart of the Prajna Paramita Sutra. And Prajna is another word, another label. And Paramita is another label. And because of the content of the Heart Sutra, we can see that it's talking about Zazen. So the title is the heart of the great practice of Prajna. But Prajna, pra means, I've explained this many times before, pra means before, and jna means thought. So Prajna means before thought. Well, yesterday I mentioned the story of Master Yakuzan Igen, Ishiryo, beyond thought, outside thought. What are they talking about? Talking about that state in Zazen where your wheels stop and you're just sitting there. You're not in a deep meditative state. You're not feeling anything particular, except you feel okay, everything's okay. So prajna refers to that state in zazen. And emptiness, sunyata, also refers to that state in zazen. So you start having lots of Buddhist terms which you find out are pointing to the same thing. However, what has happened in the history of Buddhist teachings is people have embroidered. So they've written whole books about emptiness or whole books about prajna. But my teacher didn't elaborate on these things. Prajna is the state in zazen. Emptiness is the state in zazen. Paramita means practice or training, so it means zazen. So for him, everything comes back to zazen. And I tend to do the same. I don't embroider. And I feel somewhat justified in doing that. There's what Nagarjuna says about emptiness. Well, something can only be called empty if there's something that's not empty. But there's nothing that's not empty. So where does empty come from? The Buddha explained that the state we call empty is a state in which we leave all our views behind. But some people find it totally impossible to give up their view of emptiness. So what he's saying there is, in the 2nd century, there were people around who saw emptiness as a concept, and they couldn't give up seeing it as a concept and see it for what it really is. And this permeates, this spreads through the whole of Buddhist literature. For instance, Buddha nature is another example. People are looking for what is Buddha nature and how do I get it? And somewhere here. This is Dogen. The truth of the Buddha nature is that we are not equipped with the Buddha nature before we realize the state of Buddha. We are equipped with it on realizing the state of Buddha. The Buddha nature and realizing Buddha happen at the same time. So, for Dogen, the state of Buddha means awakened or woken up, is very clearly the state of we sit in zazen when we're not thinking. So if you go through all the teachings in this way, you find that actually many concepts which there are huge commentaries written about them, but if you look at, the only people I know is Dogen and Nagarjuna, if you look at what they say, the meanings all collapse down. It's all about zazen. That's and my teacher was the same. Everything's about zazen. Which sounds a bit weird, especially if you like scholarship. You like study, reading, thinking, understanding the parts, then it's a bit disappointing to say, it all means this. And maybe even unbelievable. No, I want to embroider it and compare, do you get emptiness before you get Buddha nature, or Is prajna something that comes with Buddha nature, or does it come with it? You know, this is what's happened in Buddhism. And so we've got this vast, Dogen calls it flowers in the sky. And it's part of human nature to create the flowers in the sky. At the same time, they're flowers in the sky. And maybe from my teacher, who was very straightforward, I sometimes feel that what I'm saying is too straightforward. There's no meat there. Oh yeah, it's all the same thing. Okay, what we've got to do, just go and sit zazen, is that all? Well, a bit boring, isn't it, really? I like what Nagarjuna says about emptiness. Some people can't give it up. We were talking about being no right and wrong yesterday, and I found my teacher talking about it in 1985. So I thought you might like to hear it. Yes. If I can find it. Not doing wrong. It's about 10 minutes, about 9 minutes or so.
This is not bad. So human beings have ability to do wrong intentionally. When we are natural, when we are balanced, we can never do anything wrong. But at the same time, human beings have excellent ability to do wrong. This is the situation.
And also, we don't do the right thing.
And when we have consciousness that we have done good, it is tainted situation.
Tainted situation.
Tainted.
Therefore,
Tainted.
to do right is also impossible for us. We are doing our conduct in day-to-day life, and those conducts are not right and wrong. But many people think that this is right, this is wrong. And that distinguishing attitude is denied in Buddhism. In our day-to-day life, we are doing something which cannot be called right or wrong.
There's some problem with explaining, I suppose, because when you tell us the fact that we shouldn't worry about right or wrong, you can't. It's impossible to stop discriminating. I can say what you tell me is right. So, what is the essential fact? Is it not to worry? Is that the essential fact, or is the content of right or the content of wrong?
is fact in your brain.
Fact in your brain.
Yes. So
I can't ignore it.
but images in your brain are different from real world. Many people do not recognize this fact, and images in our brain is real something real. But this is wrong understanding. And in this chapter, Master Dogen explained difference between images in our brains and real facts.
Oh yes, I suppose in many situations we can never know whether what we do is right or wrong, because we can't see the whole of the situation. But I'm puzzled why start the sentence, don't do wrong, do right. Don't do wrong is an instruction.
Yes, so it is explanation of words. So in reality, there are facts, and there is not right and wrong. But in our brain, we have criteria of right and wrong. So we can think not to do wrong or to do right.
So does Buddhism recommend that we think not to do wrong and that we think to do right?
So we should recognize real situation which is different from images or in our brains.
And what should we do with the images in our brains?
Well, you may be able to notice he's very insistent, and he uses his own images in our brain. He means what we think about. And he was always saying, the real fact is different to the images in our brain. On and on and on. So his teaching is very direct.
So is it true that in this view, the Bodhisattva vows, save all the beings, follow the Buddha path, and it just goes again to the same thing. Be balanced, and the practical way for us is Zazen, and be balanced in life.
Yes. So it's very. His teachings are very simple. So we never chanted the Bodhisattva vows, but if somebody would ask him to chant them, he would chant them. But he didn't see them anything more than images in our brain. For him, practicing balance, which for him is Zazen, not only Zazen, but Zazen is the simplest, essential way to practice balance, brings us into the real world. Everything else is images in our brain.
So, I'm puzzled, or I see a contradiction. Everything is so simple that can be written on one A4 page that we still need 5 hours talk each session about it.
Yeah.
So it's very simple, but we need lots of talking.
Yeah. Well, we could stop the talks. I was thinking actually to stop giving talks at the end of this year because I don't really have anything to say. I feel I should say something.
Mike, you just saved me a lot of money, time, and troubles because on my checklist I have like, okay, I should really read something about this Prajna Paramita Sutra.
Yeah.
I heard few explanations, they were all very enlightening, but they lead to more questions. And then I found, I should read some books, but I found out there is not one book to read, there are multiple good books. And I would have to read, and you just explain it in a few minutes the way I feel like. For me, not for the scholarship, but for what I need to understand.
Well, I can't remember him explaining the Heart Sutra, but I think he probably would have said, form and emptiness are images in our brain. What emptiness is pointing to is real fact in Zazen. And that's it, And if I was Japanese and saying things directly, everybody would probably kind of sit silently because being a Japanese teacher has a certain aura, a certain status. We project all our hopes for Japanese Zen, we project onto anybody who's a Japanese teacher. But I learned that direct way from my teacher. And I don't know any other way to explain things other than directly. So, what should we do instead of having talks? We could do silent walking meditation around the area.
Can I have another question?
Yeah.
Yesterday there was a question from Stepan about effort, and you said that if I remember and understand it correctly, that there is no point in really doing something like an effort. The things come by itself. Could you develop this idea a little more? That we shouldn't, because that was a question, I think it was in that talk about compassion.
Yeah.
And Stefan, I think if I understood you correctly, tried to say that he is trying to be more compassionate, therefore he puts efforts. I do too, yes? And therefore it would be interesting to hear from you whether efforts do you make sense or not.
So there's a teaching in Zen in no intention, mui. Mushotoku, okay. So people get the idea they shouldn't have any intention, and so if you make an effort towards a goal, that's not so good. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't make an effort. But what should be our goal in making an effort? Well, our goal in making an effort should be to make an effort. My teacher used to say, our goal is no goal. So, you can see this very clearly in Japanese culture. If you're cleaning the windows, your goal is not to make the windows clean. Your goal is to clean the windows. In a very strange way, this has come through into Japanese industry. Which it means that they can do things for their own sake. So, for instance, if you have a car, you might keep checking how many kilometers, whether it needs a service. You need to take it for a service, right? Or check up, or check. So we tend to always looking at the purpose, the goal. But in Japan, you service your car because it's Friday today, the 23rd of September, and then you service it again in 6 months. So there's a different approach which is deep in Japanese culture that came from this, to make an effort for the sake of making an effort. But Western culture is very goal-driven. If we're doing something, we want to know, what are we doing it for?
Yeah, but Japanese must make effort, I guess. You know, when they, I don't know how to say.
Of course they do.
They want to be kind, for example. It's their culture to develop kindness, so them bringing up.
I don't think Japanese try to be kind in general. It might be too much. No.
And what are they then? How would you describe it?
More natural. Of course, this is exaggeration, stereotypes. But I would say more natural, because we have a history of Christianity, in which we slowly become better. You know, God is here, the devil is here, and we want to move up towards good, away from evil. That model of reality does not exist in the East. So there's no necessity to get better, in the sense that we get better. But in place of that, at least people in Japan make an effort, and in making an effort they become better. So if you give up trying to get better, you may get better. If you try and get better, you may not get better. It's a bit of a contradiction, but it may be true. So, to become natural or balanced, as Nishijima Roshi says, to become natural, to find your Buddha nature, to become Buddha, to return to your original state, to find the face before your mother and father were born, there's hundreds of ways, is to be natural. To return to being natural will make you the best you can be. But to return to being natural, we have to give up trying to be somebody who we are not.
But what do you mean by natural? That's another label that I don't understand.
Because the animals are natural, so monkeys or these very primitive tribes are very natural.
Yeah.
And I don't think we want the people here want to do that.
No, well, I didn't say become like a monkey. I said become natural. So even to use the word natural to human beings is strange, isn't it?
Well, in terms of saying that Japanese are natural, I think that I would never say, you know.
No, giving examples of how the Japanese are different is a bit misleading, because Japanese culture is very Western, and people, any example which I give, you can find an opposite example. But there's a kind of tendency in Europe, Christendom, deep in us, to want to be right, to want to be good, to want to improve ourselves, become better. That something, that hope or drive or aspiration does not exist in Asia. Doesn't mean you can never find a Japanese, Chinese or Korean who wants to be better. Doesn't mean that. But overall, in the culture, they do not have that very deep set of Christian well, even pre-Christian, because the Greek philosophers introduced idealistic notions. Plato, with his shapes on the back of the cave, perfect. They were the perfect shapes which we should become. So, very, very deep in Western culture, and in each of us, there's a kind of unconscious feeling to become perfect, or become a bit better.
It's very true what you said. But what do Japanese then have instead? You said natural, but I don't.
They make an effort in what they're doing,
Yeah.
so they appear quite stupid. I mean, if I start giving examples from my experience there, you have to be careful. I have to be careful that you don't think, oh, this is all Japanese. But, for instance, I think I've told this before. When I first came back from Japan to the UK, I go into the bank to get some money. And the woman in the bank, I said, please give me £200. So she's counting the money out to me. And while she's doing that, she feels she should be kind to me or pleasant. So she's saying, oh, where did you go on holiday? Did you, have you come back somewhere? And I'm thinking in my Japanese head, count the money, count the money. That's just one example. And I go into a supermarket and I go to the checkout and the same thing happens. Oh, how are you? Just, don't talk to me. Do your job. Concentrate on what you're doing. Make your effort for what you're making your effort for. Mm-hmm. Those are examples that stay in my mind. But of course, you can go to Japan and show that it's not like that at all. But it comes from the original teachings that effort is for its own sake. Dogen writes, there's a chapter in the Shobogenzo about washing.
What's the name of the chapter?
Senjo.
Senjo.
Washing and going to the toilet.
Yeah.
And he says, when we wash, we don't wash to make our bodies clean. Oh, but that's what we think we do. I wash to clean my body. But for Dogen, we don't wash to make our bodies clean. We don't wash to make the water dirty. We just wash. We wash for washing. And that's very difficult for us. Very difficult. And of course we can't do it, but we can notice that's a way to do things. I mean, you could, there's lots of stories in Zen about, cutting the carrots.
To be more present in the washing, we forget that we are washing ourselves.
Yeah.
Get lost in this.
Yeah.
Somehow we are in contact with ourselves then.
Yeah.
Very near to each.
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
But we are always thinking, I should there.
Yes. Yes. So we can make washing, cleaning our teeth, having breakfast into rituals. Real Buddha rituals. Not the kind of ones that you dress up for in the dojo, which of course they might be very helpful. But the real rituals are in our daily life, when we do things for their own sake. So if you can do it at home, in your daily life, I was just going to say that might be better, but I can't say better, can I? It's why people go to Buddhist groups and do the rituals, place the incense like this, bow, because in those rituals we do it for its own sake. You don't bow because Christians bow to, praise God or something like that, or some kind of spiritual feeling. When we bow in the dojo, it's just a bow. It's not paying homage to Buddha. The Buddha's not there. It's a wooden statue. What we can say we bow to ourselves, but we also bow to others. So we bow to both ourselves and others. But we can make those rituals part of our life. They are already, if instead of thinking, got to be out of here in 10 minutes, just clean your teeth. But it's very difficult for us. The pressures of society and daily life are almost too much. So we can escape to a retreat or to, our local dojo or whatever, and do it just for its own sake in there. But really, it would be nice to take the walls of the temple down and do it everywhere.
So in this context, I think, Mike, you should continue giving talks for the sake of giving talks.
Oh, okay.
Because when you talk about things being natural, I think it's very natural for us to want to talk about this, but we can never achieve this goal. We can never find words to actually that are the same thing as what we discover in Zazen. Right?
Yes.
But we should keep trying, I think. And
okay. Keep trying.
For the sake of doing it.
Yes.
And never giving up.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's what we do. We're here, we sit, we practice Zazen. I have kind of vague idea of what I might talk about, but when I start talking, I'm just talking for the sake of talking, really. Yes, it's true. And yet you're probably listening for the sake of listening.
Can we think for thinking?
Pardon?
Can we think for thinking?
Can you...
Think for thinking.
Sorry, I'm getting deaf these days.
I can think for thinking.
Just for the sake of thinking.
Think for the sake of thinking.
Yeah.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
There's lots of discussion about, observing ourselves or watching what we're doing or noticing that we're thinking. It's all rubbish. We can't notice we're thinking. When we're thinking, we are thinking. When we notice we're thinking, we have stopped at that instant.
This is the problem between men and women, because every time they say, you can do only one thing, but we can do 3 things or 5 things at the same time. I said, no, it's rubbish. It's only one neuron is doing one thing at the moment.
No. But the neurons are fighting in parallel. They are not. It's not single processor in the brain. It's multiprocessing. Yes, there are 100,000 are firing at the same time.
Distributed processor.
Always the women are saying, okay, we can do 3, and you are so stupid doing one thing, and so because please.
It's
let
hard.
Me
No.
do only this one thing and let me.
Guys, women are swapping presents as the same way as the men, but we are men. We are lazy. We want easy work when we can just do one thing.
I think
and the women, take care of children and
now
kitchen.
it's saying you should be multitask. Multitasking is now you should be multitask, because if you are not multitask, then you are something invalid. But I don't want to be multitasking.
He's still in the middle of his training. Another 10 years and she will have you trained properly.
I feel in my brain and I didn't get.
You're in the middle of the training process. So after 10 years, Christina will have you trained.
But he will change the woman in between.
So you're thinking like this. no, I want to do my thing. Okay, yeah. So you have to wait. So the training is finished. No, it's horrible training, isn't it?
Mike, you said you are thinking to stop giving talks.
Yeah.
Could you say a little more about it? Because
More about the not talking.
I don't mean. It's just for us. At least for me, and I think I see other faces. We see big value into you talking to us. But if I heard correctly, you are saying it will be natural for you to stop giving the talks. So
Well,
it will be unfortunate.
I think so, yeah. For a long time, I had the feeling I've got nothing to say. That's the feeling. When I open my mouth, sometimes I do have something to say. But, leading up to a retreat, I had a retreat in England, and I've got another one coming up at the end of May. So I feel, I haven't got anything to say. So that feeling is becoming more common for me. So I thought, well, if I haven't got anything to say, it's better not to say anything. Well, I don't know why I'm giving talks this time without too much hassle. But I don't know, maybe I've stored up my talk energy for a bit. I don't know. Or maybe I bang my head and help.
But please, it's of course your freedom, but please, it would be great if we at least answer the questions, because it's really...
Yeah, I always answer people's questions, yeah. Yeah. But you see, this is one thing. I don't know what any of you understand of what I say, and I will never know.
Yeah.
It's impossible. But I have a feeling that maybe something you understand or you don't understand, or where's that feeling? Well, I don't know. Just, but I never know. So I give a talk, I never know, did people like it, or they didn't like it, or they understood it, or they didn't understand it. It's like throwing something into space. I don't know where it's gone.
Not even when we ask?
Yeah, if people ask, that's kind of quite nice feedback. But as I've said to people before, in this area, Czech Republic and Slovakia, you're trained not to ask questions.
It's within our culture.
Yeah.
We are trained not to ask.
And people I've known longer will ask. That, yeah. Well, you know, because Ladislav, and we were going for a walk at the session in
Malaska.
No, the session last year in Skala, Humboldt. So we went for a walk, and there's Pavel and Ladislav, and were you there? No. I said, why don't you ask questions? Because the whole of my 30 years with Njujima, I was asking him questions all the time. Stupid questions, the same questions, on and on. And I said to them, why don't you ask questions? And Ladislav said, when we went to school, if you asked a question, all your school friends would laugh at you and the teacher would criticise you. I don't know if that's true.
It is many times the case.
Might have been.
It depends
Might have
which community you live in, but on the whole it is true.
Yeah.
Also, another factor is that people do not want to look stupid.
Yes.
And they don't want to be visible. So there are many fears.
Many fears, yes. Yes. So it's very helpful to overcome those fears. And the biggest fear to overcome is to look stupid. My teacher's name was Goodall, and Gu means stupid, and Do means way, so the stupid way. He wasn't a stupid person, but he didn't mind being stupid. So he talked in his very poor English to lots of foreigners. I mean, that's quite brave, isn't it, really? I'm fine, I'm talking in English. It's my language.
Let's give you an example from a company environment, that people do not ask questions neither in the company environment, but if you give them a tool to ask during the meeting anonymously, then they ask questions.
That's what I wanted.
They like questions.
Okay,
and so on.
that's in the company.
Because they are not visible. They ask anonymously,
Right down.
Yeah.
or like another question anonymously, and in that environment they can ask questions. So
Okay.
that is because they are afraid to speak out loud and be visible or ask something that is uncomfortable and so on.
Well, be stupid. The most stupid of my students is Roman, because he asked me lots and lots of questions. He always has.
And I didn't ask you about 100 questions because I was too afraid that you would attack me. I was very shy. So at different retreats in England, I was preparing my question for like 15 minutes and I was like, and I was hoping that you wouldn't.
You want to be attacked,
Yeah, but I had to be brave.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean to attack
people.
But I just realized you talking about my high school experience, there was no time for questions. No teachers had no time for, we didn't ask questions because there was just no time. You were supposed to get it and then we wrote a test. No questions. So my students sometimes ask me 10 questions, like 3 questions at most, we have to continue. They always ask questions. So you have to find a compromise.
Right. I think what has happened is, and it's not only in Czech and Slovak, it's in USA, it's in England. You have a question, but instead of asking it, you look it up on the internet or you read a book. I see, okay. So it's like you keep everything secret. My questions are secret, my worries are secret, my doubts are secret. I'll solve them all in here. And so I take a bit from this book, a bit from that video, and I make my own private system. That's, well, that's weird, really. Because if your system is going to be strong and realistic, it's got to be open.
So in England, people would ask many more questions than us?
Pardon?
In England, people would ask many more questions than us?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
And would you admit that they tend to ask more intellectual? I noticed maybe intellectual questions.
Yes, that's true.
Things I didn't understand the questions because they.
Different people, different questions. Some people are very practical, pragmatic, and other people, it's a very intellectual, abstract kind of question. Yeah, all kinds. But I think maybe it's easier for people in England to ask questions. Our cultures wasn't suppressed so much. Well, how are your students? Do they ask you questions?
Less than I want. So I don't have any experience of Slovakia or Czech Republic, but still, I mean, it may be that I get more questions, but still not enough.
Not enough. You want more? Yeah, me too.
The main reason is because often I find that when a student asks a question, the other students kind of breathe a sigh of relief because they think, yes, I had exactly that question. And actually it can be kind of almost an act of compassion to have the bravery to ask the question because it's a benefit to the rest of the class.
So there we are. Ask a question and be compassionate.
This is a very important point. It's very useful to listen to other people's questions. It's very good, leads to very good. It's also very good, not just asking questions, but listen, to questions.
I have maybe one practical question regarding sitting zazen during session. The zazens are of course changing, or the ability to notice that we are lost in thoughts is different. So usually the first day, my experience is that I feel, there are some strong thoughts, and when I notice disappears, I can calm down quite quickly. Usually the second day, which is today, there is a constant flow. It doesn't have such strong, severe identification. And I got lost much easily, but there are many of them. It's like wide river of things. And sometimes I'm lost. The way I'm lost, it's like I'm skipping or jumping on these thoughts or variety of thoughts. I try not to do it, but if there are, how to say, different techniques or ways how to cope with this changing.
Yes, adjust your posture. Every time you adjust your posture, you break your thoughts, if only for a short time. So this is why Dogen writes, Zazen is not a fixed posture. Nobody knows what Dogen was like when he was sitting in Zazen, but if it's going to be the peaceful gate to wherever, and you sit without moving, that's not any kind of freedom. So we're always micro-adjusting our posture, and each time we do that, we break our thoughts. So that works always. Thank you.